Workers started moving heavy equipment today near the toxic Superfund site in South Asheville.
Yeah, toxic vapors have been seeping from a spring near the former CTS site, forcing the evacuation of several families. Now there's an effort underway to stop the contamination. News 13's Frank Faboni has continuing coverage and joins us with more. So, Frank, how will this work?
Well, Darcel, in simple terms, the idea is to capture the poisonous TCE and petroleum product vapors and then filter them out of the air. Today, crews hired by CTS began rolling onto the neighboring Rice property to begin the work. Workers block traffic on Mills Gap Road so a backhoe can get to the area where the toxic vapors are coming from.
They're claiming to be able to vent the toxic waste and fumes.
The TCE and petroleum vapors come from a spring on property that belongs to the Rice family. Caution tape and warning signs have gone up where workers removed a section of fence to get to the spring.
Some brush cutting.
Larry Rice's brother, who lives in this cabin just feet from the spring, was one of 3 families evacuated back in June. He's skeptical the project will work.
I think they ought to go back to the source and clean up the actual contamination before doing cosmetic, decoration.
But the EPA, who had a representative on site, says the first priority is getting families back into their homes.
They're going to install what's called an air sparging and a vapor extraction system.
Samantha Urquhart Foster is the EPA's remedial project manager. She says evacuated families could be allowed back by November if the project goes as planned.
It's going to take about a month to construct the system, and then we have to do air testing to make sure it works.
The EPA says it's also expanding its testing to more neighboring homes to make sure it's not spreading.
I've lived here all my life.
Families like Pat Morrows have lived with the former CTS site and its contamination for years, and she's certain this is only a temporary solution.
I say remove it.
Just go on to the site
and get it out.
I think they ought to go back to the source and clean up the actual contamination.
The EPA says getting to the source of the contamination is part of their plan, but not until after this project is complete. Last week we learned county commissioners will vote tomorrow to take legal action seeking more than $2 million in damages from those responsible for the contamination. Those damages include piping city water to residents whose wells have been contaminated.